Okay, good evening, sir. Please, can you just introduce yourself, sir?
Oh, you know my.
Yes, this is. Well, let me make the introduction then. This is my beloved dad, by name Mr. Clement Dennis Ode Oko. And, sir, please, I will want to know many things about you. And let me not stop. That's not his name. May I call him the breeding dictionary? That's on the lighter mood. Um, will- can you please tell us where and when you were born and some circumstances that surrounded your birth, if at all there's any?
With humility and gratitude to God, I happily say I was born at Imaje, a small village in Yala, to the family of Okwa,
Okay.
and the Grammy Ikri.
So please be a little bit audible.
Okay.
Mhm.
My father was Okwa, my mother, a Grammy, the wife. My father settled at Enegbe,
Okay.
his place of birth. He had a sister called Agbokwa, the elder sister.
Okay. So you
At
were
Enegbe.
born at Imaje.
Mm.
Okay.
We hail from Imaje.
Hail
We are
from Imaje.
from
But
Imaje.
one of my relations told me we are from a Tandere. What do you say about that for a
Yes,
Tandere?
no, the human family tree has many roots after Abraham. I mean, after Adam and Eve.
Mm.
So, from Adam and Eve, we have spread and we hail from Yacha as well as Yala.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, please, can we please get a rundown of your history from when you knew
Okay.
your left from your right,
Mm,
adding to the one you were told about
okay.
yourself also?
Well, my father headed a family. He had 14 children
14 children.
by 3 women. My mother had 7 children for him.
Okay.
The eighth child of my mother actually was born before my father's 7 children.
Okay.
When the father of my mother's first child died, then my mother married my father, and the 2 other women of my father gave birth to 3 and 4 children. That is, 2 women had 7 children, my mother had 7 children, making 14 children.
Okay.
And
You went to primary school here in Imaje?
Imagine, yes,
Okay.
Imagine has St. Matthew's Primary School. Hard, I would say, St. Matthew's Primary School. Now, this later, we have the primary school as well as a secondary school now.
Okay.
But in my days, there was no army the primary school or secondary school.
So you attended St. Matthew
Yes,
Primary
Matthew's
School.
Primary School.
Okay.
Yes.
What of secondary school?
There is a secondary school at Ibadan, but
You did not
I
go.
never went to secondary school. There was none. In the days I was born in the early 50s. In fact, someone who witnessed my birth, I was even born much earlier, but I claimed because my dad was not read by my parents because they were not schooled, and I never went to school.
You told me you did not finish your primary school. You went to Kaduna.
No, what happened? In my boyhood days, I finished primary school. I mean, I did begin primary school at St. Matthew's. I continued at St. Joseph's Okoko. In fact, in 1961, I was in standard 3 in St. Joseph's School, Okoko. One. But I left there for Kano to continue schooling. I began in 1963 because I meet primary school in 1962. Meet 1 year and continued in 1963 to in St. Thomas's Primary School, Kano, where I finished in 1965. Thereafter, we returned to the east from the north. The Civil War set in. But I went back in 1968, even in the height of the war, when the war had passed our place here. I went and continued living in the north. I joined the army in 1960.
Exactly, that's where I'm interested in.
We are at the very end of the war.
How did you manage to join the army? Which year was that?
1970, early in 1970.
Okay, during when the Civil War was coming to an end.
The war ended on the 12th, but officially on the 15th of January 1970. Then we were taken on special enlistment in April 1970, but it was documented that attestation was done for us in May of 1970. Full-fledged recruit began from that time. I soldiered for nearly 10 years.
Okay, from 1970 to 1979.
Exactly.
Why did you leave the army then?
No, the army had recruited too many. They felt it was too big. The size of the army was too big for the country.
Okay.
We had more than 200,000 men under arms, and they were demobilizing. So that I had suffered some injuries in my soldiering, fractured my left leg, operated my left eye, and the army found it not good to allow people who had any disability to continue soldiering. So I was found unfit for further military service. So in 1979, I was demobilized. There were 4 categories of people who were soldiers who were being demobilized. People who went to school, the soldiers. I mean, they remained there for 6 months and went away from there. Some who went to Ushodi. Some who were disabled, and those who were declared unfit for further military service. 4 categories. So
can you describe how you sustained the injury in the army?
It was during physical education. We were playing football, and somebody leapt from behind. I was to score a goal. Somebody leapt high up and landed on my calf from behind, and my left leg couldn't bear his weight. Shot like a gun.
Wonderful.
I was taken out, and I had another injury in the eye, not from that football something, but much earlier in 1974. And those injuries reduced my physical fitness. And they said I should leave the army.
So you left the army to where?
Okay, while I was in the army, I was studying on my own because I didn't go to secondary school. Having since I stopped education after primary school in 1965, I joined as a primary school certificate holder.
Okay, you joined the army as a primary school.
Yes, I was just
what was your rank?
Literate.
Your rank in the army?
The army, you recruit, not officer corps, but other ranks. They call it other ranks.
Okay, what was the name of the other rank?
That is what I'm telling you. They call them recruit. The lowest rank in the army is to be recruit first. Then the next rank is private, PTE, private. As a private, from there you become a lance corporal, and thereafter corporal and sergeant, staff sergeant, and all. I had the lowest rank.
Okay, as a primary school.
Yes. And since I joined the other ranks, of course I was not qualified for officer corps job.
So you say you were studying in the army?
Yes, on my own. On my own. Rapid Results College, correspondence studies.
What was your dream? What was your dream studying in the army?
No. I had burning desire to read when I was
in the army.
Young. No, not in the army alone. In fact, I had burning desire to read from childhood, but I became childish when I stopped schooling. It was not that my father had no money. My father was even begging me to go to school while I was in the primary. It was of my own volition. I left school. I said, I will not go to school again. I played truancy and he begged me. He said, they say you are knowing the book. Why don't you go? And that colloquial style. I said, no, I won't go again. But thereafter, I changed my mind. I told him I will go to Kano. That was what made me go to Kano. My elder brother was going there to see our auntie. And I said, I will go to Kano, so I will school there. And he said, go now. What are you here doing for me? So that was how I stopped primary school and went again and began it. But when I joined the army, I said, okay, I have all along loved book. Why not read? I had the divine guide to actually start reading. I began with salesmanship.
What did you have in mind then? What was
just to become educated and to improve myself. I looked at the family I hail from, and I said, we can improve on the standard of life, and education is the key. Our improvement, I call it salvation. Our salvation, economic salvation, lies in book learning. So I started reading quietly on my own. When I read newspapers, I see school adverts, correspondence school adverts, and I began with National School of Salesmanship, London. And they were sending me lectures, and I read and got a Red Seal diploma. I got it in 1974, 10th July. They gave me the big certificate. It's still there. Then when I finished that correspondence studies, I began the general studies in 1975. Rapid Results College, also London. I would sit in the house. I had discipline, personal discipline, be focused. So I read, and I got to know about WAEC, GCE.
Okay.
And they call it public examination. Those who write it are secondary school graduates, people who finish class 5. Those days for class 5, not these 6 of these days. So I started reading, and when I felt I was capable of attempting the exam, I attempted. My first attempt, I passed the English, but I failed the rest. Why did I fail the rest? my year of study was the year I broke my left leg, so I couldn't prepare for the examination.
Oh yeah.
But I relied on what I could do regarding English language examination. So when I scored credit 4 in English, I said, oh, that boosted my confidence. I said, oh, so I can pass public exam. Then when I came out from the hospital, I became more serious. And I now discovered that if I joke, I may one day leave the army. Then I had not left the army. I said, I may one day leave the army, and without qualification, I will be useless in life. And in fact, I started hearing about then Nigerian universities were just 5. Ahmadu Bello University, Lagos University, Ibadan University, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and which other university? There were just 5. You write entrance examination for each of them. They came and increased the university number. So you have University of Benin, University of Calabar, University of Jos, and a number of them like that. They swelled the number, and they set up JAM, so that learning continued for me, and I got my GC O level, 4 credits and a pass. JAM advertised in 1979, in 1978 first, but that first JAM I didn't write. The second one, 1979, I attempted it, and I passed entrance to university. But the JAM brochure of that time, they describe prerequisite qualification for admission into university to be 5 passes. They describe it as 5 passes. So, but I had 4 credits and a pass. A friend told me that will not take me to university. I said, they say 5 passes. I have 5 passes, 4 within credit limit, the other 5th one without. Not within the credit limit. Credit limit is 1 to 6. He told me they will not admit me. I said, no, I will go to the university to find out. Let me, and I went. That was how I went, got registered, but they screened me out like that friend advised. They screened me out that I should have had all within credit limits. I said, that one is small now. Having come this far, as I have come this far, I can go beyond. I went back, rewrote the GC O level exams, attempted the university admission exams also, and passed them again in the following year, and went back to the same university for the same course and the same department and the same university. And,
what was the course you read?
University. Okay, I read political science.
In which university?
University of Calabar.
Okay, the Unical. Okay. You were the second batch?
No, of JAM here. I know. The university had admitted many. Second, the batch here does not come in now. The JAM started in 1978. So the second attempt I made. The first attempt I made was for second year of JAM, but the second attempt for me to go to university was in 1981. So several batches, I would say, had passed, and that is not quite relevant. I didn't bother the batch. I was going. All I wanted was to go to university. I could go to university, so I was helped.
You said your course was you read what?
Political science. I was to go for law, but I changed my mind.
Why did you choose political science?
Because the Lord was guiding me. I would say personally, because I didn't know much of what contents any course would have, and the prospects for me with such qualification in hand. I chose law before, and something told me to change. Why not go for political science? This law thing, some people talk about the textbooks that cost quite a big line to go in that way. And I picked it.
So, were you having any secret ambition in her to be a politician while in the university?
Actually, what happened was that I had in mind to, in my own thinking, I said I will be a big man.
Okay.
And what the idea of big man I had was to be a public figure that can serve a people. In effect, just a leader of a sort. I said I will also pick the woman I will marry. I never had thought about woman at that time. All attempts by would have been partners failed to chain me.
Okay.
I said I want somebody who, if I am not at home, can represent me, because I had a view of myself to be that big man whose wife will say, my husband did this, my husband is nothing but a qualified, capable representative of the family who would speak well for me. Also a knowledgeable.
When did you meet your wife? My mom.
Okay, that was in my second year in the university. When I was now sure of progressing academically, I said it was okay to pick a partner with whom I will grow. And such a partner has to be a class 5 secondary school graduate who at least will be knowledgeable to represent me well. And if she also is interested in schooling, we could grow together. Is something I was not against. I had in mind somebody, the person who is also ambitious academically, who, if you want to grow, we can grow ourselves, and we grew together. And so I had met my darling before that time.
Okay.
But unknown to both of us, we were in the same house. She was with her auntie, I was with my own auntie, but the two ladies lived together as friends. And I had finished my primary school. My wife to be had not started primary school. And when they give us food and they give her her own, I will finish my own and say, try to eat her own with her and beg her, give me a little bit of her. She will say no. I have, in this adult age now, I now tell her, because you didn't give me food that those days of your childhood. That's why God say you will cook that food for me, and that's why you are my wife. I joke like that. So I met her much earlier, and when I now was in the university second year, I met her. She had finished secondary school.
Okay.
And I called her one evening. She was going for scripture union studies.
Okay.
And I called her. I said, come. She said, what if I come back first? And I said, okay. And when she came back, I put it straight to her. You're my wife. I will not stop you from schooling if you are interested in schooling.
Okay.
And she also thought about it.
I got accepted.
And yes, and told her auntie. That auntie with whom she was still the one she was living with. But I now had become a soldier and left the army, and I was.
So how did you cope being in the university second year and you picked a woman?
Okay, good. The university in those days was not taking tuition fees from. The country was better than it is now. Unfortunately, the people who manage the system today are products of, or shall we say, were products of those days when the university was cheaper. Tuition fees were free. There was no tuition fees. You just pay student union, what's it called, levy of 4 naira, and examination fee of 40 naira. The halls were already big. I mean, were already there, furnished. People were living there, so that if you will pay accommodation, it was affordable, 90 naira. So that you just pay and go. And the schools, that means tuition was free, lecturers there, they cook free. You were eating 3 meals, square meals every day.
So you benefited from such?
I did. 45 naira meal ticket will take you the whole semester.
Wonderful.
You eat 3 times a day. There were tea pots to complement all.
So it was really easy for you managing a woman.
It was not easy. It was rosy for university undergraduates in
universities
to eat not free food necessarily, but was free.
Affordable.
Affordable. Sumptuous meals were being served.
So you didn't have much problem managing a woman.
No, managing here, she's a hard-working woman. We were making ends meet by the grace of God. A little, you see, when in those days, life was not as it is today. In fact, the universities were hosting many off-campus or many squatting students. A room meant for 4 students was having 8. Today, I think 16 or more are in one room.
She was in the university with you?
Yes, she had to come in to do her course. And she's even more brilliant than me, I would say, because the course men fear. That's the one she took. Mathematics, statistics. So that
so you people got into university together?
No, I was.
You finished first?
I was 3 years higher. I mean, ahead of her.
Okay.
In fact, when I was doing final year, she was doing her first year.
You remember some of your schoolmates, or
yes,
like you told me, John Ode was your schoolmate?
Yeah. Oh, okay. If you,
the late John Ode.
Yes.
Rose Oko.
Yes, Rose was 1 year ahead of me.
Okay, Rose Oko.
The former senator. Yes,
okay.
Was 1 year ahead of me. In fact, if my first admission was sustained, I would have been her senior by 1 year. But because that first admission was nullified, I went back to redo my GCE level. She entered the university in 1980. I entered again in 1981.
Okay.
And she became 1 year senior to me.
Okay.
Rosoko, John Ode was 2 years behind me. He went to then Polytechnic Calabar to do one course before he changed to do Unica.
You told me of somebody you squatted. Who was that?
Okay, Dr. Oga. Dr. Oga today is a lecturer in FC Obudu.
Okay.
He squatted me. I squatted him later.
Okay.
And I also squatted somebody else, permanent secretary. He's still in service.
What's his name?
Samson Oga.
Okay.
But he didn't stay with me till the end of the course. He changed.
Can you still remember any of your colleagues in the army that is still alive?
Unfortunately, a good number have gone to the great beyond. The last one who came 5 years to me passed on, I think, last year. Early last year. Was it early last year or the year before? He visited me here and went back to die. From Okuni. We were football.
What's his name?
James Ndoma.
Okay.
From Okuni.
Okay. That's Ikom.
Ikom. There was this Idoma boy also, Ali.
Okay.
Ali Adamu. He was from Otupa.